Hi and welcome everyone to another video. My name is Denis, my free is active, and today I'm going to show you my team selection for Game Week 16 of Fantasy Premier League, so let's just jump straight into it. Okay guys, so as I said before, it's free time for me. My free is active for Game Week 16 of Fantasy Premier League, and before showing you how my team is lining up currently for Game Week 16, I want to take a look at the best fixtures to target, the best players to target, depending if you're free in Game Week 16 or maybe you just want to go for some punts in Game Week 16 before some players are going to go to the African Cup of Nations. I think that now on screen you're going to see some projections from Rob the FPL. If you want to check his account on Twitter, he's making these nice graphics which maybe are going to help you a little bit. Now here you're going to see the projected goals for Game Week 16 and the clean sheet odds. Now why I want to show you this is because again, if you want to include obviously some players on your free, I think that again from Arsenal it is easy. You just need to have 3 players from Arsenal. I think that this is such a big no-brainer for you. Now if you want to go for double Arsenal defense or for double Arsenal attack, that's pretty much dependent to you. Again, if you want to go for 3 defenders from Arsenal, probably that's also okay. Definitely I would not go for 3 attackers from Arsenal. And as you can see from the screen, Arsenal are predicted to score the most goals this game because they are playing against Wolverhampton at home, probably the best fixture they're going to get all season. We saw how bad they were against Man United, and also they have a huge chance of getting a clean sheet. Now usually how I would play a free, how I would approach such a gaming in terms of which players to target from Arsenal, usually I would go for more attackers because I think that this is going to be the best fixture probably for Arsenal. They're going to have all season. They're playing at home. It's time for them to bounce back after they lost to Aston Villa, and I can see Arsenal scoring some goals. Now, obviously, this season defensive defenders can get defensive contributions, and also Arsenal are just an incredible defense this season in particular. They were also a really great defense, obviously, in the recent years, but they have a huge chance of getting a clean sheet here. And again, if you want to go for double Arsenal defense, I think that's perfectly fine. So enough about Arsenal. Other fixtures you may target. Let's talk a little bit about the clean sheet potential. Chelsea against Everton are the second here on this place, but apart from Arsenal, you pretty much just need to pick which team you feel like they're more likely to get a clean sheet. Chelsea, Fulham are pretty close in my opinion. I think that even Fulham have a slightly better chance of keeping a clean sheet just because they're going to play against Burnley. Now, if this fixture was Burnley at home, I would just go probably for more Fulham players. But because it's away, Burnley, we know that they play a little bit better when they play at home, obviously. So again, 39%, 36%. Brentford, if you want to go for someone like Kelleher, Collins is a great option. Thiago, obviously. But again, we're talking here about defenders. So from Fulham, Anderson, Leno. If you want to take a punt on someone like Tete. From Chelsea, it's Cucurella and Sanchez and Chalobah pretty much for me if you want to pick from these players. And other than that, I don't mind if you want to go for someone like Hall from Newcastle, if you want to have some defenders from Newcastle, or if you want to go for someone like Matty Cash from Aston Villa. But pretty much that's it. This is the list of teams I would target for defenders. Again, if you want to take a punt on someone like O'Reilly from Manchester City against Crystal Palace away, perfectly fine, just go with it. But I just don't think that you should target the other players. Defender from Liverpool, probably I would try to avoid on a free. The same for Tottenham, for Man United, and the list goes on. Now, talking about the attacking threat, the projected goals: Arsenal on the first place and Liverpool on the second. Now, this is the part when the free gets interesting a little bit because I can see not a lot of people are talking about Liverpool players on a free, and obviously that's for good reasons. Liverpool were not great this season; they weren't amazing attacking wise. Now they have a lot of injured players, which may help us a little bit on the free. Ekitike, Isak, Florian Wirtz. I think that these players obviously are the options if you want to go with some Liverpool players on a free. Gakpo is injured, he's going to miss some gamings. So they pretty much are forced to play Ekitike and Isak. Now, if that's going to happen, obviously we need to see. And also someone like Florian Wirtz is getting better. Liverpool, I think that again, they are playing at home. Brighton is not the best fixture, the best team to play against. They have pretty decent defensively, honestly, this season. And again, on the third place, Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Aston Villa, Brentford, Fulham. Probably from these teams, I would target to get some attackers. From Man United, I'm not entirely sure I agree with this graph. Again, do I see Man United scoring more goals than Chelsea, Man City? Maybe, but again, I just don't think that Bournemouth is such an amazing fixture to target for attackers. Again, if you want to go for someone like Cunha, Mbeumo, Bruno Fernandes, that's perfectly fine. I am just not sure about Manchester United. I think that they are a really unpredictable team. They lost to Everton when they were playing against 10-man Everton. They won away to Crystal Palace. So again, I can see some goals. I'm just not sure if I'm going to trust Man United that much on a free. With Man City, again, on a free, if you want to go safe, it really depends. You could go for someone like Foden, Haaland. Probably this would be my picks, but as possible enough, I would try to avoid having Manchester City players, honestly. And you're going to see on my free draft, Crystal Palace away is just not an amazing fixture. Again, if there is a fixture, if there are some fixtures to back against someone like Haaland, against someone like Foden, I think that Crystal Palace is one of those fixtures, also away from home. Crystal Palace were really great defensively, honestly, this season. Just Arsenal conceded less goals than Crystal Palace. Now, maybe that's a little bit too much, but again, I think that this is a tough fixture. However you want to see it for Manchester City, I don't think that City are going to score loads of goals against Crystal Palace. Now, could someone like Erling Haaland score 2 goals, score 3 goals? Of course, he's the best striker in the world probably at the moment and in the Premier League. So again, it could happen, and the ownership is huge. So we're going to talk also about that. From Chelsea, someone like Cole Palmer, it is a little bit risky. Other than that, I'm just not sure if I would go for someone like João Pedro, Neto. The attacking options from Chelsea are pretty much unpredictable, and also Everton at home, I don't think that is such an easy fixture. Everton were decent. Aston Villa, let's see how they are going to line up in Europe, but players like Rodgers, Watkins, Matty Cash, probably this would be the players I would target. From Brentford, everyone is going to have Thiago. Otara Dango is an amazing differential on a free, or if you want to have him for just 1 week punt, that's also great. Other than that, from Fulham, Raul Jimenez, obviously on penalties, he's going to play. Harry Wilson, Chukwueze, if you want, Iwobi, if you want, but pretty much that's it. I don't think that I would target other teams, honestly. Now, enough with the fixtures. Now, before calling me crazy, before talking about my team, let me just try to explain myself. So I didn't make my usual graphics for this team selection in Game Week 16 because, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure if this is how my free team is going to look like by the deadline. Also because I want to get all the information possible. Again, someone like Foden is rising up tonight. I think that I'm just going to keep him in my normal team, and then I'm just going to sell him tomorrow to have the most cash available. Now, because I want to get all the information, I want to see all the press conferences tomorrow, and that's probably going to change how I'm going to line up on my free. But again, at the moment, I'm going to try to talk you through my draft for Game Week 16. Now, obviously, with this draft, I have 5.1 millions in the bank, which sounds crazy. Yes, I understand. But now, before talking about some interesting, weird picks, maybe like Ekitike, someone like Palmer, I want to talk through to the players I'm pretty much sure are going to be on my free, right? And then we're going to discuss also about different combinations, because this free hit in Game Week 16 you can do a lot of things. A lot of teams have decent, really good fixtures, and you can have them all. Obviously, you can have 3 players from Fulham, you can have 3 players from Brentford, from Liverpool, from Manchester United, from Chelsea. You know, now as I said before, I think that having 3 players from Arsenal, it's the easiest decision on this free hit, and I think that this is how you should go. Real short, if you want to go for double Arsenal attack, I don't mind it. I think that's really interesting. At the moment, I'm with double Arsenal defense, as you can see. But if you want to go for another attacker, Saka 100% would be in my free draft anyway. I think that he's a great differential. He would be also my captain. He's going to be my captain for Game Week 16. If you want to go for another attacker from Arsenal, for me, it would be probably Eberechi Eze, because he was rested in the Champions League. I don't think that I would go for someone like Rice. If you want to buy Rice into your team, that's a different discussion, different topic. But Rice on a free, yes, he's nice. He's getting 4, 6, 8 points usually, but he's just not that player who you're going to be sure he's going to get you a whole a 15 pointer or something like that. So if you want to go for 2 Arsenal attackers, probably it would be Saka and Eberechi Eze. But on my team, at the moment, I'm going with double defense. So Saka would be 100% in my team. He would be also my captain, Lewis Kelly and White. Now, again, this here, I could see some changes. I need to see also the press conference from Arteta. If someone like Saliba is out, I don't think that I'm going to go for Timber. So pretty much that's how it's going to impact me. Because if someone like Timber is going to play as a center back, I'm just going to go for Ben White, who I think that on a free hit again, the defenders, the center backs are better for defensive contributions, but on a free hit, I'm willing to take that risk, and I'm willing to go for the players who I think that are going to be more attacking. So that's why I have two fullbacks from Arsenal at the moment. Now, someone like Alafiori is suspended for Game Week 16. That's why Lewis Kelly is playing now. Not the best situation because Lewis Kelly played 90 minutes in the Champions League, but I just don't think that Arsenal have other options. Now, could they play someone like Timber left back? Maybe that's possible, I guess. But if I'm going to be sure, I'm going to go for Lewis Kelly and Ben White. If not, I'm just going to go for White and Timber or something like that. Or if I don't want to go for Lewis Kelly, I'm just going to go for Hincapié, boring. So yeah, we need to see if Saliba obviously is going to be fit. At the moment, I just don't think that Saliba is looking like he's going to feature against Wolverhampton. But yeah, these are my three players from Arsenal. At the moment, I'm going with a double up from Chelsea, Sanchez and Cucurella. Now, Reece James would be a really fun pick, an exciting pick to have on a free, but I just think that Reece James played the last two games, and I think that there is a chance of some rotation for someone like Reece James, and I just don't think that I want to take too many risks on my free because already, as you can see, I have some risk by not going for Erling Haaland. Now, Cucurella, for what's worth, again, could he be rested? Could he be benched? Of course, it could happen in any given game week, but I think that he's a nice pick to have. Again, if you want to go for someone like Chaloba, who's good for defensive contributions and who's also decent for attacking threat, I think that's also perfectly fine. In goal, I don't need to go for Sanchez. Again, I could spread the risk if I want. I could go for someone like Leno. If we look at other goalkeepers available, I'm not going to go for Raya. So for what's worth, I didn't talk about that, but I'm not going to go for Raya because I think that his ceiling is pretty much 6 points. I don't think that he's going to make a lot of saves in this gaming. So I want to go for the upside with Lewis Kelly and Ben White or someone like Timber. I don't want to go for Donnarumma, Alisson Becker. The other options I'm considering maybe someone like Kelleher or maybe someone like Leno. But if I need to pick one of those, probably I would just go for Leno because I think that Fulham have a slightly better chance of keeping a clean sheet against Burnley than Brentford have against Leeds at home. Now, another option obviously could be to go for someone like Ramsdale against Sunderland, someone like Vicario against Nottingham Forest away, or someone like Martinez if I want to back Aston Villa to keep a clean sheet. Aston Villa, a team who, as you can see from my screen, I don't have any players from Aston Villa, which sounds maybe a little bit crazy because they're going to play against West Ham, but the fixture, to be honest, is away. West Ham are improving a little bit. I think that they were better also in gaming 15, so I'm just not so sure. Someone like Matty Cash, again, if you want to go there, it's perfectly fine. I think that again, he has that shoot, right? We know that he can score goals, and if you want to catch the upside with Matty Cash, that's also perfectly fine. But for me, honestly, at the moment, I'm debating towards going for double Chelsea defense or for going with double Fulham defense, to go with someone like Leno and Anderson, who is also great for defensive contributions. Now, all it's going to depend on the press conferences and how I feel about these punts. At the moment, I'm backing the team who's playing at home, who I think that is a better defense, Chelsea. Now, obviously, they have a tougher fixture against Everton. I think that Everton were decent this season. I think that there's a chance they could score against Chelsea, but again, I was just impressed by Chelsea. So again, pretty much this is it. I have double Chelsea defense, double Arsenal defense. If you want to diversify, if you want to spread the risk a little bit, maybe I'm going to go for someone like Sanchez and for someone like Anderson from Fulham. But again, now talking about my midfield, here it is where the problems are coming. The defense is pretty much easier. Now Saka is nailed. Bruno Fernandes, again, it's not usually a pick I'm really excited to have on a free, honestly, because he's playing a deeper role. Yeah, I know that he hold last game he got 18 pointers, which is great for my team also. He's playing at home, not the best fixture against Bournemouth, but he's on penalties, he's decent for defensive contributions, his attacking threat is okay, he's decent. as I said before, I don't think that this is going to be such an easy fixture for Man United, but at the same time, you have a lot of money. You have a lot of money. You can go to any player you want. And if I can include Bruno Fernandes, why not just have him into my team? So he's pretty much locked in at the moment, I think. Now, going for another Man United defender, Man United attacker is also an option. Probably it would be in Mbeumo if I'm going to go for one. But at the moment, I think that Bruno Fernandes is enough. Cole Palmer is the big discussion here because I'm not 100% sure he's going to be on my feed. But at the same time, I want to take this opportunity. I think that not a lot of people are going to have Cole Palmer, and this was the plan all along. Obviously, to use the free in Game Week 16, I just hope that someone like Mohamed Salah would be also an option, which is a shame because, again, if Salah was an option, I would just have him into my team. Now, it's not looking like he's going to play a lot of minutes against Brighton. Let's see what's going to happen in the press conferences, but it is a shame. So at the moment, I don't think that Salah is a discussion for me. With Palmer, he was, again, he didn't get any minutes in the Champions League, which is usually good. Now, I'm just not sure how good is his fitness. He played 60 minutes in Game Week 15, which is okay. If I'm going to get Palmer for 70, 75 minutes, I think that's enough because he's Cole Palmer again. He's on penalties, he's on some set pieces. We know what he can do. Now, is he in the form of his life? Yes, of course not. But again, Everton at home is a decent fixture. Has good returns against Everton. The only problem is the minutes, right? Because if he's going to play 50 minutes, then I'm not going to be so happy. But at the same time, I think that I should take this opportunity on a free. He's going to be a huge differential. Nobody's going to have him into their teams. And also, yeah, on a free, I think that you should take some risk. But again, I'm not sure if I'm going to have him here. We're going to discuss about different options. Don't worry, guys. Dango is pretty much also locked into my feed because a lot of people are not going to buy him because obviously he's going to go to the African Cup of Nations from Gaming 17. So this is a nice opportunity on a free to go for someone like Dango, who's also going to be a super differential. Shade also is suspended for this gaming, so I think that the minutes for Dango are going to be great. Leeds at home is a decent fixture, so that's why he's here. Thiago, another player who I think that is pretty much nailed on my feed. Again, it is a huge ownership. If you want to go against him, that's perfectly fine. I could have someone like Watkins there, which probably is more exciting to have on a feed. But I just think that on penalties, decent fixture. At home, I think that trying to be too smart, maybe it's not for me. Now, obviously, I'm talking about that and also not having Haaland in my free draft, which is maybe not that smart. Raul Jimenez is also here. He is similar to Thiago. Again, I think that Thiago is a little bit better this game because mostly because he's playing at home, but Raul Jimenez has a better fixture from my point of view against Burnley. Also on penalties, and his minutes are going to be decent. Ekitike also makes the draft at the moment. Don't worry, guys, this is not my final free draft. Now, before talking about different options, what I want to say to you, I don't recommend to anyone to go without Erling Haaland because probably the smart thing to do is to just go for Erling Haaland. I know at the moment I'm trying to back against Man City. I'm not going to have Foden. I'm going to say it straight to you. I'm not going to have Foden into my team, into my free team. With Haaland, I'm 60-40. I'm not going to have him. But again, it is such a crazy idea because it could go horribly wrong. So that's pretty much why I don't think that I would recommend to anyone to go against Haaland. If you don't want to captain Haaland, that's perfectly fine. But because someone like Mohamed Salah is not a pick at the moment, for me, I think that you have the money to go for Erling Haaland, and also I have the money to go for Erling Haaland. So it is the smart idea would be to just have Haaland into your team. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. But at the same time, I want to go against him because I think that Crystal Palace away is not going to be such an easy fixture for Manchester City in general. I don't think that they're going to score loads of goals. Now, could I be wrong? Obviously, could Haaland score 2 goals and destroy my rank? Yes, of course, that could happen. But at the same time, someone like Ekitike, if you're talking about him, Brighton at home, slightly better fixture, not such a big difference compared to Crystal Palace away, but I think that slightly the fixture is better for Liverpool, and I think that everyone can agree here. And also he's playing good when he's playing for Liverpool. Honestly, when I watch him play, obviously I'm a Liverpool fan. he's looking good. He's looking good. He's getting involved in the chances. He's getting more shots, more chances than someone like Alexander Isak. Now, he's not going to be on penalties. We know that Soboslai is going to be on penalties for Liverpool. So, yeah, this is pretty much going to be a big ramble for me from now on, where I'm going to discuss my different possibilities. Now, I have 5.1 millions in the bank. So, if I want, I could just go for someone like Alexander Isak to double up on Liverpool, which probably is going to be crazy. Um, Now, if we talk about, I don't know, if you guys want to go super safe, I mean, not super safe, but if you don't want to take a lot of risk, maybe just go for someone like, if you can go for someone like Soboslai, or you could go for someone like Mbeumo here. Now, if I can find him, and with this draft, I would have close to 1 million, something like that, in the bank. Bruno Fernandes, Mbeumo, Haaland, Raul, Thiago. This is looking more likely safe, right? If you don't want to go against Erling Haaland, and probably this is the smartest pre-draft, I would say. Now, if I don't know, let's say someone like Timber is fit, there are some doubts also about Timber, so we're going to need to see the press conferences for me to give more information on this. If you want to play it safe, just go for someone like Timber and Hincapie. Uh, Now, what you can change also, if you don't want to go for double Chelsea, perfectly fine, just go for Anderson. And let's put here, if you look at other defenders, you could go for someone like Chaloba, as I said before. You could go for someone like Collins, who is a player who is great for defensive contributions. He has real attacking threat. And it is also nice because he's on 4 yellow cards, so not a lot of people are going to have Collins. He's going to be a huge differential. So this is also a really available team if you want to go more safe than me. Bruno Fernandes, Mbeumo, as I said before, I'm not so sure about Harry Wilson. As you can see, he's on my bench. I think that he's a great option. But if I have the choice to pick between Harry Wilson and Raul Jimenez, I think that I'm just going to go for the guy who's on penalties. So yeah, let's just say I'm not going to go for Palmer, right? If I'm not going to do that, and if I wanna, I don't know, go for someone like Hincapie, I think that he's also decent for defensive contributions. I have him also in my team already. Someone like Matty Cash, as I said before, he's decent. So my defense would be something like this. I could go for Leno in goal, as I said before. Hedge all my bets on Fulham getting a clean sheet against Burnley, which is totally possible, I think. Yeah, I have too many I have too many Fulham players at the moment. So yeah, Rice is not going to help that. Okay, so ignore Semenyo, but here Timber would be here instead of Esteve, obviously. Now, Leno, Anderson, Hincapie, Timber. This is also nice. If you don't want to go for Mbeumo, if you want to take also a punt on some Liverpool players, I think that someone like Wirtz. Now, we need to see if he has some injury problems because he didn't play all the game in the Champions League, which is usually nice. He played just 30 or 20 minutes, something like that, against Inter Milan. I'm expecting him to start. I think that in the last few game weeks he started playing more good. He gets into better positions. He obviously got an assist or almost a goal in game week 14. Now again, I know that nobody's going to want to go for someone like Florian Wirtz on a free because again, everyone has something against him because a lot of people had him in game week 1, including myself, and he was a horrible pick, honestly, from game week 1, but he's a decent one. If you don't want to go for someone like Mbeumo, if you don't want to go for someone like Foden, honestly, on a free hit for just one game week, could someone like Wirtz outscore Mbeumo? Of course he can, of course he can. So this is another possibility. If someone like Gakpo was available, I'm pretty sure I would go for him. If you still want to go for a Liverpool player, probably the smartest idea would be to just go for Soboslai. We know that he could be on penalties. He took one and he scored, but the thing is, Isak was not on the pitch. I still expect Alexander Isak to be on penalties because he's a goal scorer, because he's a number 9, because they paid a lot of money for him, and I think that it would help him a lot to get some goals, even from penalties, right? To boost his morale or something like that. So I think that there's a good chance Isak is going to be on penalties. And talking about Isak, if you have a feeling that he's a better pick than Ekitike, again, maybe on penalties. just go there, just go there. But the problem with him is he's not getting 90 minutes regularly, and that's a problem. So yeah, pretty much that's it. We talked about Harry Wilson, we talked about other options. If you want to go for someone like Kelleher, that's perfectly fine. Um, if you want to go for someone like Wilson in midfield instead of Dango Tara, that's perfectly fine. Or if you want to go for both, that's also perfectly fine. Let me just put Dango here again and Wilson, make the transfers. Um, so yeah, you could play someone like Wilson here instead of Semenyo. Now, again, talking about the players who I think that are pretty much nailed into my free draft. I'm going to have three players from Arsenal, as I said before a lot of times: Saka, Bruno Fernandes, Dango, Thiago, uh, Timber, Ben White, and Lewis Kelly. These players are pretty much locked in into my fleet. Maybe a Chelsea defender is going to be also here pretty much. And other than that, it really depends if I want to go for someone like Palmer, if I want to go against Haaland. Now, again, a really super crazy draft, and I don't recommend anyone to go with this formation and with these players if you're backing Liverpool to deliver pretty decent points. Then I think that going for something like this could work out. Again, it's not a nice fixture, I know, but if you want to go super different, they're playing at home, and because of the injuries they have, I don't think that they're going to play Rio. I don't think that they're going to play Federico Chiesa, so they are pretty much forced to play Isak and Ekitike up top, and probably they're also going to line up with Florian Wirtz as a number 10 behind them, and that could be pretty nice, pretty nice. But again, I know that nobody's going to go with three Liverpool players, three Liverpool attackers on a free in Game Week 16, but I just think that this is a viable idea. If you're backing against City players, again, who's to say that Liverpool can't score more goals this game week than Manchester City? So if you're willing to go for someone like Foden, Haaland, bear in mind the form of Foden and Haaland obviously is better than someone like Florian Wirtz or Ekitike. I think that it could work. It could work. Now, here I'm not sure if I can afford all these players. Yeah, pretty much I think that I can afford this. Now, it really depends also. If you want to go for someone like Sanchez here, you can do pretty much anything if you're going to go against Erling Haaland. Now, to try to include Palmer, it's probably not going to be that easy, and you need to give up on one of your midfielder probably. Yeah, or just go for another cheap defender, someone like Matty Cash. Yeah, he's in my team already, so let me just put here Alderete to see. Uh, and yeah, Cash here. So it is possible, it is possible, you know what I mean? It's possible to make this draft. Probably not the smartest draft, if you ask me, but again, it is possible, and you would play something like this. Again, I don't recommend anyone to do this. Probably with this team you would need to bench someone like Otara, so probably again that would put me off a little bit. Let's just put here Timber again, because as I said before, going with three Arsenal players is a non-negotiable for me. If for an example you, I don't know, probably would need to downgrade someone like Bruno Fernandes and just go for someone like Wilson here. Again, this is not for everyone. Probably is not the best idea to go with this draft, but if you want to play FPL for fun, if you want to go for it, yeah, I just don't. I think that it could work out. That's the real thing. That's my honest opinion. I think that it would work out. Again, if you want to go for someone like Watkins here, that's perfectly fine. If you want to go for someone like Rogers, it's perfectly fine. If you want to back that Aston Villa fixtures, you have also 2 millions in the bank with this draft. So again, we need to see how Aston Villa are going to line up in Europe and to see all the press conferences. I know that probably this video of mine didn't help a lot, but there are a lot of options you need to consider on a free. If probably the best idea, the smartest idea would go just have Haaland on your team and then try to pick some differentials. But if you want to go fun, if you want to go super different, take your chance, go for one Liverpool attacker. I think that that's perfectly fine. Thanks a lot for watching this video this long. It really means a lot. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button, check our memberships, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye.